الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعقلون شيئا ولا يهتدون. Dear brothers and sisters, dear viewers and listeners, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are once more very privileged, even in this very, very busy part of the world, that we have made a very superlative choice. When there is so much that we can do, we have made the choice to leave off traffic and trade and come together today that we can review, we can contemplate, we can deliberate, and we can reflect on aspects of divine guidance. Hopefully, we are fortunate that our reflection, our contemplation, our deliberation will bring us greater fruits and greater enhancement. Last week I was sharing some ideas and experiences of mine passing through two major Muslim communities. And today I'd like to add a little more of that experience. But the main purpose is not to talk about somebody else and stop there. The reason is that somebody else is like us. They are humans like us. They're people like us. They may be our own kith and kin. They might be people of our villages, of our towns, of our cities. They may be people of our background. And it should be our concern to always look and learn and observe how people like us, how they do perform in life. And if you will recall that last week, I mentioned to myself and to all of you that this is precisely one of the fundamental teachings of the Qur'an. The Qur'an has asked us to travel through human streets, travel throughout human societies based on our permission and our circumstances, but be very observant. This is important. In our meeting with human beings, we have been told specifically not to meet them with our eyes closed, not to meet them with stoppers in our ears, not to meet them as unintelligent creatures, but to meet them with a keen sense of observation, of investigation, of analysis, with an attitude to learn from them. Because they are human beings, we can definitely learn from them positively. And they are human beings, even from their mistakes, we can learn from them. So we cannot underestimate the value of human beings wherever they are, and especially the experiences of human beings. And one other thing that I like to add to my observation that was really hammered home to me was this lackadaisical attitude of people as Muslims. They had developed a kind of action in their lives as far as the practice of Islam, whatever they understood Islam to be. there was no thought or talk or consideration as to what is the purpose of all these things that they are asked to do and they have committed themselves to do. There was no real evidence that they understood the purpose of what they were doing. For example, they were very committed to prayers, but they knew very little of what was the purpose of prayer. And to so many of the beliefs and practices that are very much present in Muslim communities, they were very committed to them. But when you talk to them on a personal basis, you're dealing with innocent people. Innocent in the sense that they really don't know what they're doing. All they can tell you, well, this is what was told to us, this is what was taught to us, and that's why we're doing it. For example, they will run into the masjids and they will do what they know as prayers. And they will get up back quickly and go back to their regular work. And you'll be surprised, these prayers take like 4 to 5 minutes. And this is a lifestyle. And if this is their attitude to what they consider the most important thing, you will hear the Muslims say that the most important thing in a Muslim's life is prayer. They say, God will ask you about this. This is what they say. This Qur'an didn't say anything like that. There are lots of more important things that we are accountable to Allah for. We are accountable for the life that we have been given. We are accountable for the gifts of mothers and fathers that we've been given. We are accountable for the health, the wealth, the talents, and all the amenities in nature that we have access to. We are accountable to those things before anything else. But the Muslims claim the prayer is so important. And of course, you know what leads to the prayer. There's a big fuss that they've got to take a bath. And they're crazy about this thing called wudu. Right? Because their scholars taught them that cleanliness rests in water. The scholars didn't teach them that cleanliness means to give up your ignorance. The scholars didn't teach them that cleanliness means to give up your prejudice. The scholars didn't teach them that cleanliness means to give up your careless and carefree attitude to the deen of Allah, so that you don't find out where you're heading. This is not taught. This is not even taught here in Canada. Because you go to the average man and woman, boy and girl who prays, and you ask them what you have been doing. And most of them hardly have a Qur'anic intelligent response. So my observation of the Muslims is that they are committed to this ritual approach to Islam as a religion, not as a way of submitting to divine values and divine standards and divine expectations, and they're committed to it without even knowing what are the outcomes of what they're doing. You look at the school system, or you look at any educational system, there are outcomes. They're hoping at the end of the year, the student is expected to show and demonstrate proficiency in such and such and such. All of us who are in this community of Muslims, how many of us were really taught that the outcomes of Islam is definite? And we should not continue doing the things we've been doing for donkey years without examining if we are doing them properly, or if they're really from Allah. Because here is the question.